Hello, ladies. How is everyone doing? Hopefully, you are having a great evening, or if you're another part of the world, you could be in Australia and it's already morning there. It's actually about 10:30 in the morning in Australia, right? So, hopefully, you're just having a great day. I am Twanna Carter, and I am happy to have you all. I'm going to give everybody a couple of moments to pop on there and just to let you know that I do have a comment session. And if you want to drop me a comment or a question, want to know anything special, I can certainly access it there. You can actually send me a private chat as well if you wanted to do that, right? So again, Twanna Carter, and I work with professional women and I help coach purpose-driven women who are actually just unhappy with their careers and where they are right now in life. And I help them overcome anxiety and transition fears so that they can actually accelerate their careers and enjoy their life in that new career. So today I am going to be sharing tips on managing anxiety while you're in career transition. So if you were here with me yesterday, you heard me talk about what is career transition, and I'll link to that video after the live is done. So today I'm actually talking about how do we manage the anxiety where we're actually in career transition, right? For a lot of us, career transition is just it's uncomfortable, right? And transition just means that it is a moment in life where you're literally getting ready to go to another moment or situation in life. So you have this old place where you are now. You can actually have many different middle spots, right? You can go from the old and transition to something temporary, transition to something else temporary before you actually land in your new spot. The thing is that transition between the old and all the little middle spots in between before we get to the new one, that's the phase in which it could just make us feel unsure of ourselves. Some of us have a lot of doubt, right? Just it's just uncomfortable. We don't necessarily like change, and career transition is all about change. Whether you're changing within the company you're in or you're going to an entirely new organization, it is still all about change. Most people just don't like change, right? And so to gain new skills, so you have to transition from the old skills to the new skills. But we still don't like change, right? Even though we know we're getting new skills, we still do not like that change, and that's fine, right? Now, when you say we don't like it, what are some of the symptoms? What are we talking about? So transition can like make you feel dread in the pit of your stomach. You ever had some people say it just felt like my heart dropped to my stomach. It makes you feel like that sometimes. Or for some people, it may feel like it's butterflies in your stomach. It's just a little uncomfortable. And I know for me, early on, I would just feel kind of nauseous as well. Thinking about all that change and that upheaval and that transition, I would get kind of nauseous. Other people may feel dry mouth, like it's just hard to swallow. You kind of get that frog in your throat, and it's like you just can't quite drink enough water or swallow. You might feel like you're not in control, and that's the thing that causes so much issues when we're in transition with that career because we feel like we're not in control. We're not going to be at the old place, and I really don't know what I'm getting into with the new place. And it just makes us feel like we're not in control. You can actually have what we call that brain fog, where you just are not thinking quite as clearly as you normally would. And so some of those are the symptoms of when we're in transition. And the thing is even though transition is really important, it just feels unpleasant at times, right? Now, what's so important about transitions? They do actually help us grow. It helps us grow from the old position to the new position. It helps us to learn skills. We can adapt. We can learn new skills, new people, new skill sets. Just a whole newness about it. But again, that newness just makes us uncomfortable, even when we know it's good for us, right? So really think about it like this: if there were no transitions, everything would kind of be boring, just the same old, same old. Nothing would really change. You would just always be in the same place. And if you feel like you're stuck, then you would always feel stuck, right? So, yeah, transition is I won't say it's a necessary evil, but it's a necessary skill to adapt, right? And there is a good way to get through transition. It's all about managing your anxiety because many people get this, and it's not uncommon. I've actually had clients that sat in place with the job 5 and 10 years because the career transition, just the thought of it was so uncomfortable that they just stayed in the same job, unhappy, not liking what they were doing, just bored, feeling like they were stuck, but they were more afraid of career transition than they were of being stuck in that one place. And that's the thing about learning to manage that anxiety. You need to learn to manage it so you can transition to your next best level. You don't always want to be stuck in a job where you're just hating the world. You're hating to go to work. Like every Monday morning, you're just like, oh, here it comes again. I got to go into this job. That's not fun. And you don't have to do that, right? You really don't have to do it. Now, oftentimes, and I've talked about some symptoms, but anxiety can really manifest itself through nervous behaviors, right? And sometimes it's eating. It shows up in our eating, whether you're eating too much of the wrong thing, or in some cases, people don't eat at all. Their appetite is just like not there. It's like I can't eat. I'm too nervous. My stomach feels funny. I'm just too nervous. I'm too nauseated. For other people, it can show up with watching way too much TV, especially now we got Netflix and all these things. You can literally sit and binge watch year after year of your favorite TV shows, or you can watch movies. You can watch all these things in a series, and this, the binge watching can then lead to procrastination. Then when you get to the procrastination, then you're beating yourself up because you should be getting that resume ready. You should be getting your career transition action plan ready. You should be doing the informational interviews and doing your assessment and doing job search, but you just kind of get there and just procrastinate. For other people, it's gaming. We play either games on our phones. A lot of people play games on their laptops or their tablets, and other people just surf the web. I've seen people that just spend like 4 or 5 hours doing nothing but surfing Facebook, Instagram, just surfing, not really getting anything accomplished. And again, that's a procrastination. That's another way that anxiety surfaces when we are avoiding career transition because we're just afraid of what's going to come, right? And if you stay in that stuck place for too long, then you get filled with worry and you're filled with frustration, and then that can turn to fear, whether you're just uneasy about where you are, but you just feels like you're more uneasy about where you're going, right? I just want to check to be sure I don't have any. Okay, just be sure I don't have any comments there because I've got a couple of notes that I'm actually going on. So let me just make this a little smaller. So if you do have comments or questions, be sure to drop those in the chat. And for those of you who catch me on the replay, be sure to drop your questions and comments as well. I always circle back to see who's left questions and comments so I can answer those, right? And so the thing of it is, you can get through transition. Here's the thing. We've all done transition. We all transition from kindergarten to first grade. We transition from grade school to middle school or junior high school, depending on when you went to school. And then we transition from middle school to high school or junior high to high school. We made that transition. Some of us transition from high school to our first job. Some of us transitioned into college. Others of us transition to the military. So it's not new, right? It really isn't new, but it's about managing the fear and managing yourself while you're in transition. So I have a couple of ways, some suggestions that you can manage your transition so that you don't get bogged down and just get stuck where it leaves you feeling so afraid you just feel rooted in fear and you stay there, right? This is about helping you move forward, to take that action to move forward. And so these are some tips that you can use as you're managing your anxiety while you're in transition. We're going to talk about the cognitive tips first. This is the brain. Cognitive just means thinking, right? And so if you find yourself getting very nervous, to the point where you kind of feel nauseated or you're procrastinating like crazy, go ahead and take some nice deep breaths. Just stop what you're doing. Just clear your mind. You want to, if you're sitting down, you just want to sit up straight, have a straight spine, have your head up, have your chest open, have both feet flat on the floor. If you're in a safe place and you can do it, have your shoes off so you can be grounded with whatever surface that you have your feet on, be it a carpet, linoleum, the tile, or what have you, and just get comfortable. Take some nice deep breaths in and deep breaths out. Deep breaths in and deep breaths out. You will find that it really does make you feel good. You're getting that extra oxygen to the brain, and it's tending towards trying to bring you out of that fight or flight where you're anxious, and it does help you feel good. Now, here's another strategy that I like to teach my clients. It's called a 3-2-1 method, and it's by Dr. Richard Nungar. He invented it about 30 years ago, but it's absolutely fantabulous, and it actually works. And so what you're going to do is the three is just take 3 deep breaths. Just that's your 3 deep breaths, right? And then take 2 hands. That's a 2 for the 3-2-1, 2 hands. And then just hug yourself. Give yourself a nice little hug, right? And for some people, you've known people that hug and they do the pat thing, or they hug and they rub. You can do that to yourself too. Just hang in there for a moment and just feel yourself. Because what you're doing, when you ever notice how good it feels when someone gives you a hug, it's because you're producing oxytocin, actually, and it makes you feel good. So that's that 2 in there. And then that 1, you just want to close your eyes while you're there and just breathe for a minute. Just take that time out and breathe deeply, right? And so whether you want to count like 10 deep breaths, or you just want to set a timer for a minute, the 3 deep breaths, 2 hands because you want to hug yourself, and then you just want to close your eyes and breathe for a minute. You will be amazed at how good that really makes you feel. It will stop the anxiousness. It's like a reset. It literally is a mental reset, and it will help you tame that anxiety so you can go on and follow that career transition plan, right? That career transition action plan. Also, another cognitive strategy that you can use is journal during this time. Really, really important. Write all of your thoughts down. If it's the fear, write it down and look at the things that you're procrastinating about, it you're fearful about. Look at them and figure out how to, look at and put on the opposites. Okay, I'm afraid of this, but what good can come out of that? This makes me nervous. Well, how can I make this better? Journaling is just a great way. Number one, it's just really good to put your thoughts, because you're thinking things. And when you write them down, you're putting them down on paper, getting them out of your head. And it's kind of like a cleanse as well. You can get everything out. And then another strategy that you can use is get an accountability partner or a friend or a family work. If you say that, okay, today I'm going to job search and find 3 possible jobs. Jump on the phone, have a meeting set up with your accountability partner. How many jobs did you find today? How much research did you do? If you say, I'm going to set up 3 informational interviews, go over with the accountability partner, put it on your calendar and say, okay, I'm here. I did it. I set up 3 informational interviews, or I attended an informational interview. Accountability partners are a really great way to keep you on track. It keeps you zoned in, intact rather, with your network, because what happens is when we start to feel anxious because of career transition, we also start to feel isolated. And then the more isolated you feel, the worse you get, the worse you start to feel. So do hone in on that accountability partner. It's a really good time anyway. When you're in career transition, stay in contact with your network, because you never know. You may be able to use that network to find another job or give you some good information about the job that you are applying for. I've had a couple of people that were able to transition to careers that were not advertised. They did it by networking with someone. So that's a great way to do it. And then also, and the last tip that I have for a cognitive tip is, each day you'll want to do a list, write out 3 to 5 positive things about yourself, positive things that happen in your day. And if you ever get stuck, like I tell my clients, because sometimes my clients will come and go, I got nothing. I say, really? Are you breathing? That's a positive, right? You're wearing clothes? Clothing is always, that's a positive. You got clean water to drink, that's a positive too. You start with the most basic things. Write those things that you're glad about, you have gratitude about, or that you're happy about, or this makes you feel happy. Write them down and keep a running list. Because if you write down 3 to 5 things each day that make you feel good, or just celebrations, I like to, and my clients would me to tell you, I'll call them celebrations and wins. Write them down, because in 5 days you'll have 9 to 15 things, 9 to 15 positive things. You do it for 30 days, right? You will have 60 to about 80, 60, 30, or 30 to 150 positive things that you can look on. So when you're feeling down, you're feeling anxious or depressed, pull out that list and start looking at all the positive things going on. That'll really help push you forward to get you out of that procrastination, right? So my second set of tips involve action. Get your body in action. These are physical tips. You do want to exercise, and exercise can be whatever you want it to be. If it's chasing your toddler around, if it's going for a walk by the lake, if it's going for a swim, if you got some cold water to take a little quick swim in, oh, that's really good. I personally wouldn't do it because I don't like swimming in cold water, but it is very helpful. I'm not the cold weather person, but it is really helpful. You can go bowling, you can play tennis, you can do yoga, you can do stretching. There's just tons of things you'll want to do. Just get your body in action, and you will just be amazed at how you'll be so energized, you'll be motivated to get up and do something, right? Also, pay attention to how much sleep you're getting. Pay attention if you're getting too much sleep or not enough, because sometimes when people are in transition, some people get what we call a depressed mood. They get depressed. So if you're sleeping too much, that may tend to take a look at it and reach out to your mental health professional, because it may mean you may have depressed mood or may have a little bit of depression. So watch that, right? Also, the sleep, what sleep does is sleep prevents deprivation, right? Sleep deprivation. When you consider this, our military, and I say not just our military here in the United States, but militaries around the world actually torture people with sleep deprivation. So what happens to us, even if we're not in a wartime situation and we're not being held hostage or prisoner, but the symptoms of sleep deprivation, they're just as bad on us, whether you're in a wartime or prisoner situation or not. Sleep deprivation is not good. Sleep deprivation really plays with your mindset, and it makes everything look like a huge mountain that you got to climb. Even the simplest of decisions will look like a huge mountain that you have to climb. And it can really stop you cold in your tracks, because you're like, everything is hard. Everything is just hard. I never get out of this. Symptoms of sleep deprivation. You'll be surprised if you forget that. And how much sleep you get is going to be different for everybody, right? I'm about a 6.5 hour girl. I would like to be an 8 or 9 hour person. It doesn't happen unless I take medication, right? But whatever sleep is good for you, get that amount of sleep so you can manage your thought process and be sure that you're giving everything that you need to give energy wise in transitioning to that new career, right? And so lastly, also, let's talk a little bit about what you eat, right? That's important. Monitor your caffeine intake. We talked about getting enough sleep. Getting too much caffeine will definitely interfere with your ability to sleep. I know me, I can drink McDonald's sweet tea, that cup, and I can be up to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, because really caffeine has that effect on me. So just watch your caffeine, and watch all the sneaky places it is. We talk about eating dark chocolate is really good for you, but eating too much chocolate has caffeine. So you got to watch that. Green tea is really good. And if you get it, that's decaffeinated, but still be careful with how much you're consuming, because even decaffeinated tea has a little caffeine, right? And you want to be sure you're getting your proteins, you're getting all your vitamins, your antioxidants, because those things will help lift your mood, help you deal with stress a lot better than if you're not eating, or you're eating sporadically, or you're doing a comfort food. You're eating a tortilla chips and salsa dip. Yes, I did say that, right? But definitely watch what you're eating and monitor your caffeine intake, right? So if you feel, and I kind of alluded to it before, if you're sleeping way more than you usually do, or you're very teary, you're very weepy, and it's not improving, go ahead and see a mental health professional. That takes it out of the realm of coaching and it puts into the realm of mental health professional who can help you deal with that. Now, I have clients who have a mental health professional and they have me as a coach. You can actually do both, but coaches typically don't deal with depression, or if you need to be medicated or those types of things. You will want to seek professional mental health. I like to put that in there so that, because not everybody always knows the difference between coaching and mental health, right? So those are the motivational tips that I have for you today, talking about managing anxiety while you're in career transition. So I do appreciate you for coming. And as always, those of you who catch me on the replay, I am always grateful to you for doing that. Be sure to put your comments in the chat, because I still check on those, right? And for those of you who catch me on the replay, put hashtag replay in there so I'll know that you caught me on the replay. And also, I want you to join my career transition community. It's a free group where I do talk about transitioning, and I just have lots of freebies in there, lots of articles, lots of information, because again, you don't have to feel like you're isolated in career transition. It may feel like that, and that's why you do the physical, you manage the cognitive, and you watch what you eat so you don't feel isolated and feel like you're stuck or you're the only one. Because that's how I felt when the first huge transition I did was I transitioned from the military into civilian life, and I didn't have a clue. I just didn't have a clue. I grew up in the military and then I joined, so I didn't know what really civilian life was. I've been around the military all my life. I didn't really know how to do the job search. I didn't really know what my best skill sets were. I didn't really know how to showcase them in their best light. I just didn't know how to do any of that, which is why I'm in this space and why I do have a free Facebook community where we talk career transition, because you don't have to do it alone, right? And so I did put it out there. I put my link out there so you can join my free Facebook group. And as well, look for an announcement next week for my next live, when I'll be talking about changing your mindset so that you can be successful in your career transition, right? So we'll be talking mindsets, because that is very, very important to career transition. Thanks everybody for watching. I saw some likes out there. I do appreciate it. And be sure to just share this video. And if you're on, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, like, subscribe if you're on YouTube, and share this with someone who it will be helpful for. Thanks for joining in, ladies. Take care.